Welcome to JW Broadcasting. What do we have for you on this month's program? We'll hear the story of Cecil Goff, an elder and regular pioneer with over 80 years in Jehovah's service. What valuable lessons from his experience can you apply to your life and ministry? This is JW Broadcasting for September 2018. We start this month with the story of Brother Cecil Goff. Cecil is 99 years old and has served Jehovah for over 80 years. He spent many of those years in full-time service. He had the privilege to serve at Brooklyn Bethel, as a circuit overseer, as a Gilead-trained missionary, and as a branch overseer in Cuba. As you watch his interview, try to determine why he's convinced that his life in Jehovah's service was more rewarding than anything the world had to offer.
My name is Cecil Joseph Goff. I began to lose eyesight in the 70s. I can't see to read anything. I see on a peripheral vision. I started pioneering, and then they assigned me to Texarkana, Texas. And then Brother Noah told me, says, in 1964, we're going to have a 10-month course in Gilead for all branch people who had branch experience. Oh, it was very, very good. We studied a lot of, not only the Bible, we studied a lot on the Bible, discourse and everything, but we studied a lot of branch material too. Above everything else, our love for Jehovah should continue to grow. He knows our thoughts, our mind, our heart. He goes far beyond what man can do. And whatever his decision is, I've learned to understand it's the best decision. I have learned that if we obey what the organization says, then we're doing Jehovah's will, and that's my concern.
Brother Goff has led a full, happy life in theocratic service. But do you wonder how was he able to persevere for so many years and through so many different assignments? Cecil learned the value of letting Jehovah and his organization shape his thinking. A choice all of Jehovah's servants have to make. And that's the basis for our discussion this month. The theme is, stop being molded by this system of things. By blowing through a hollow tube, a glass blower can quickly mold superheated molded glass into a specific shape. Satan's system has developed the art of shaping the minds of people into fragile glass vessels with little useful purpose. Vessels of wrath made fit for destruction. What is responsible for molding and shaping the inclinations of the people of the world? So the molding of this system is related to our thinking, the shaping of our minds. Well, what evil air is blown down the hollow tube? Clear that this system of things has a ruler. Satan is called the ruler of the authority of the air. The air is the spirit of the world. Well, with such a mindset, what kind of behavior does the thinking of the world lead to? For this reason, they become vessels of wrath, made fit for destruction. Ways that this system subtly tries to shape our mind into Satan's designs. The first is harmful peer pressure. Now, often this is just an apprentice in Satan's shop, maybe fellow students in school, fellow workers on the job. Don't you think Satan will try to capitalize on these circumstantial relationships? Absolutely. Peer pressure. It can have an influence on our mind. They may make fun of our wholesome morals, our clean speech, our dignified dress. That is pressure. Possibly they invite us to do things that we know will lead to no good. They are twirling us with their thinking, with their taunts, or maybe with their flattery and temptation. They are rolling things over and over in our mind. And as you read this, can you pick out a word that's equivalent to peer pressure? Let's read 2 Peter 2, 18 and 19. They make high-sounding statements that are empty, like air. By appealing to the desires of the flesh and with acts of brazen conduct, they entice. That's peer pressure. They entice people who have just escaped from those who live in error. While they are promising them freedom, they themselves are slaves of corruption. For if anyone is overcome by someone, he is his slave. The verse says if we're overcome by peer pressure, enticed, we actually become a slave of that person. That is scary. It's dangerous. Peer pressure is deceptively strong. But what is another way that the spirit of this system can shape our thinking? You recall the apprentice passed the glass-blowing tube to the gaffer, who blew air into the glass, giving it shape. What does Satan and this system next use to mold our thinking? Enticing advertisements. Now, it's not that all advertising is bad or misleading, but the more we allow ourselves to be influenced by it, the more we are in danger of being led into a materialistic way of life. This system inflates our thinking by means of things. 1 John 2, 15 and 16. Do not love either the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Because everything in the world, the desire of the flesh and the desire of the eyes and the showy display of one's means of life, does not originate with the Father, but originates with the world. Why do we need to resist catering to advertisements that feed the spirit of the world? Don't be overly influenced by advertisements. But what's the next aspect of this system that can distort our minds? Bad associations. Well, we already talked about peer pressure, but that often comes from those who are not necessarily our close associates. What we're discussing now is our decisions about whom we spend a lot of time with. People who don't love Jehovah can stretch and misshape our minds, providing a stem or a handle for the world to hold us by. Sometimes we hear the phrase that some of the kids in school are nicer than some of the kids in the congregation. But usually nicer actually means more fun rather than more wholesome. Do not be misled. Bad associations spoil useful habits. Well, what made these ones bad association? Well, what was the initial problem with these associates? They did not believe the same way. Well, why would that make them bad associations? Because what an associate believes will eventually affect our thinking, and our thinking affects our behavior. What good is it to endure the rigors of the Christian race for life if there's no resurrection, no future, no hope? May all of us avoid bad association, whether in person, on TV, or on the internet. What's a fourth means by which Satan attempts to fashion us, reshaping our thinking? Higher education. Most of us remember the January 2015 JW Broadcasting program hosted by Brother Morris of the governing body. He focused on the value of divine education, but he also reaffirmed the dangers of pursuing higher secular education. Its whole purpose is for learning, influencing one's thinking. And while a person's intention might be just to create a stable base for a secular future, his decision could expose him to unscriptural ideas and practices.
Back in 2005, the faithful slave provided counsel regarding higher education in the October 1st, 2005 issue of the Watchtower, pages 26 through 31. The article was entitled, "Parents what future do you want for your children? The cover of the very next issue, October 15, 2005, asked the question, what is the best education? You may have noticed that we've not published that thorough of a discussion on the subject since that time. Why is that? Has the governing body changed its position regarding the pursuit of higher secular education? No. We feel that all of the cautions that we have addressed in the past are still valid. Our goal now is to focus on and intensify our promotion of the pursuit of divine education. The quest for higher secular education becomes less and less of an issue. Higher education, what do we mean when we use that expression? Example of the educational system in the United States, acknowledging that it involves 12 years of basic education in public schools. Thereafter, students may choose to attend university for 4 or more years, leading to a bachelor's degree or to postgraduate studies for careers in medicine, law, engineering, and so forth. Such university education is what is meant when the term higher education is used. There are technical and vocational schools offering short-term courses that result in a certificate or diploma in some trade or service. We realize educational systems vary from place to place. In some countries, higher education is provided by the government, free of charge. However, the cost of obtaining university training is not our primary concern. It is the potential for spiritual harm that has moved us to provide the cautions we have shared in the past. As parents, we would be remiss if we did not encourage our child to pursue a skill or trade that would enable him to start off a marriage successfully. Having said that, it does not change the fact that all too often our young people have met with spiritual disaster, especially after leaving home and living on a university campus. So parents and children, you need to have a goal and you need to have a plan. If you're missing either one, Satan will provide it for you. Young people, ask yourself, why am I considering additional education? Is it because I'm pursuing a specific skill or trade to support my service to Jehovah? Or have I been pressured by the system into believing that higher education will somehow make me a more respected person or lead me to a better life? Bad associations spoil useful habits. Bad associations had to do with what the other persons believed. It was a doctrinal issue. If we are in continued association with those who do not believe the same, it can erode our thinking and convictions. Spending time with non-believers in a university setting is no different than working secularly with those who do not share our beliefs. And in fact, bad associations in the workplace can be a real danger. However, it is one thing to work on a job with others and quite another matter to immerse oneself in an institution of learning. Stop being molded by this system of things, but be transformed by making your mind over. We are to be careful that this system does not mold or shape our thinking, not hand over your minds. Higher learning can easily influence thinking and attitudes. When we make a decision, we must realistically also accept the consequences. I have long said, the better the university, the greater the danger. The most intelligent and eloquent professors will be trying to reshape the thinking of your child, and their influence can be tremendous. Here, Jehovah guarantees that one day, every person on earth will be a true worshiper of Him. Will you be there? Will your son or daughter be among those alive at that time? Do your personal decisions matter? Yes. Think of all the opportunities there are now to enjoy divine education, congregation meetings, family worship, assemblies and conventions, the jw.org website, and the station you're watching right now. But in addition to all of that, the curriculum for the Pioneer Service School has been revised and is getting superb reviews by those attending. Then there's the new curriculum for the School for Kingdom Evangelizers that bolsters and trains students for a career in a variety of theocratic privileges. In addition to promoting divine education, what secular skills will we be promoting? Skills that will be useful to God's organization now and after Armageddon. And think about this. We will not need doctors or lawyers after Armageddon, but we will need carpenters and plumbers and similar construction trades. It requires faith to decline higher education and have the confidence that our material needs will be cared for by training in other fields of employment. And think about this. We will not need doctors or lawyers after Armageddon, but we will need carpenters and plumbers and similar construction trades. It requires faith to decline higher education and have the confidence that our material needs will be cared for by training in other fields of employment. Speaking of lawyers, we have an interesting perspective from Brother Philip Brumley of the legal department. Let's go to our Patterson studio and listen to an interview of him conducted by Brother David Schaefer, a helper to the teaching committee.
Thank you very much, Brother Morris. And we're delighted to have with us Brother Philip Brumley, overseer of the legal department. He's been a full-time servant for the past 41 years, and for the last 28 years has been overseer of the legal department. Brother Brumley, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. I know you have a very busy schedule.
My pleasure.
How did it come about that you came to work in the legal department?
So I was working in the carpenter shop one day, and I got a telephone call from Brother Charles Steele. The governing body asked Brother Steele who could go through law school to become an attorney. The organization needed a few attorneys to help defend the rights of Jehovah's Witnesses. So Brother Steele asked me, or basically gave me the assignment. We want you to become a lawyer.
So the organization made a decision to send you through law school. What effect did that have on you?
Something happened that I was not prepared for. When a person goes to law school, the instructors, law professors, essentially tell the class, you're the hope of humanity. You happen to have been born in the best country in this planet, and you happen to be among the few in this country who have the circumstances to be able to attend law school. You are the future presidents, governors, senators, judges. But not only that, you're also the future social activists, the ones who are going to protect the disenfranchised, the poor, the one who needs their rights protected. If you do well, civilization will do well. If you do poorly, humanity may not survive. The real point is to serve Jehovah, to seek kingdom interest, to do what Jehovah wants to have done.
Fortunately, in an effort to make a stable base for one's financial future, many have deviated from the faith. In the visuals of a glassblowing shop, we observed the skill of the workers involved. And that shop obviously produces beautiful, useful glass vessels. Satan's glass shop is also skilled at shaping one's thinking. But what does it produce? Instead of a person becoming a valuable vessel that Jehovah can use, Satan is actually mass-producing worthless vessels that Jehovah cannot use. What could you do with this misshaped creation? Nothing. It is useless. At the outset, Romans 9:22 was quoted. Those who conform to Satan's system are referred to as vessels of wrath made fit for destruction.